Then I think we're missing also Mr. Scott from USA. I think maybe he cannot made it. So let's move to one of the very important session today is building the trust to back to facts. Trust is a UNICEF application to fight the counterfeit. We have now Mr. Grant, the independent consultant and technical lead at UNICEF Trust Initiative. I'd like to invite Mr. Grant. I am thrilled and I am honored to invite him to give us an information about the deep effect and presence of trust in the countries. Mr. Grant, how are you?
I'm very well. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, very well.
Excellent. Let me pull up my screen. Great. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Brilliant. Well, firstly, thank you for the invite. It's a great honor to be here. It's wonderful to be amongst friends and colleagues that are all working to deploy traceability to protect patients and the supply chain. So thank you for putting this event on, and I hope to be an active member of this community as we move forward. So let's get into this. The presentation is called Growing Trust to Prevent Fakes, but perhaps it should be called Growing Trust to Prevent Fakes. So trust stands for the traceability and verification system. However, we pronounce it trust. So today I'm going to do an introduction to myself and my organization, look at the challenge that UNICEF and the industry is facing, and therefore the solution, the trust solution that was implemented. Then I can give you a little bit of a status of where we are with trust, because the project has been running for around 4 years now, and then look ahead both into 26 and 27. And if we have a little bit of time at the end, I'm very happy to take questions either through this forum or you're welcome to reach out to me directly. So get your phones out. If you'd like to contact me following this presentation, please scan that QR code. That will put my contact details into your mobile device. So my name is Grant Courtney. I'm an independent consultant. I've been consulting on anti-counterfeiting and traceability for almost 20 years now. I spent 24 years working with GSK, and the last 6, almost 7 years, I've been an independent consultant. One of my largest clients is UNICEF, and that's what we're here to talk about today. I'm the technical lead on the UNICEF Trust Initiative. So just one slide about my company, Smarter and Safer Products. We're a niche consulting company to the healthcare industry, and we supply deep subject matter expertise in digital and smart packaging, brand protection, serialization, and traceability. So if anybody's looking for support on system implementation, legislation, the use of standards, or anything at all, and you think we can help, then by all means, please do reach out. So let's start by looking at what the challenge was that we were trying to address. So the challenges were clear. Fake and substandard medicines cost low middle income countries $30.5 billion a year. So just think about that for a moment. That is $30.5 billion that low middle income countries are spending on purchasing fake or substandard medicines. And obviously that has a massive economic, but also an impact on the patients. And unfortunately, this was leading and still is leading to thousands of child deaths per year. We also see fantastic systems that have been built and deployed in the likes of Turkey and Europe and Saudi Arabia, just to name a few from today, US also. But we don't see the same technology and systems being deployed into the low middle income countries. And this is not acceptable. A child's life in Africa is worth exactly the same as a child's life in Europe. So we want to bring what we call digital equity to the low middle income countries, offering the same technology and solutions that are available in high income countries. We also want to see a higher level of GS1 standard adoption because it's not just traceability that will benefit, but obviously scanning GS1 barcodes in the supply chain, but also in clinics and healthcare facilities will help prevent errors and drive supply chain efficiencies. So we want to see the use of GS1 standards adopted in low middle income countries to drive the efficiencies and processes within those supply chains. We just heard that Saudi Arabia is a maturity level 4, I understand. So this is the WHO maturity level. And within the maturity level, there are targets to hit for traceability and the prevention of substandard and falsified products. And in many low middle income countries, the maturity level might be maturity level 1, maturity level 2. And these countries are trying to get up to maturity level 3. So they're trying to grow their capabilities and their ability to monitor the supply chain, prevent falsified products. So we need, and we have a duty to work with these countries and try and move them from maturity level 1 and 2 up to maturity level 3 and eventually probably maturity level 4. Now, in order to do that, that's very difficult when, as a smaller country with no real power to mandate that your products and your products alone are serialized. You often find that manufacturers, unfortunately, don't serialize products for these countries, and they don't supply data. Particularly, many manufacturers won't do this unless there's legislation. So you have a very difficult situation that these countries are trying to grow and adopt and harmonize and align with the rest of the world. But we see many manufacturers not serializing products or prepared to supply data. So then you sort of get this blockage in order for low middle income countries to adopt and move forward. And finally, there's a risk of labeling complexity and barriers to interoperability. So the last thing that we want to see is low middle income countries introduce legislation which is different and not harmonized, and therefore that would drive complexity into packaging, complexity into barcodes, and ultimately that would probably reduce the ability of manufacturers to supply these countries and reduce the ability of IT companies to work in an interoperable environment across low middle income countries. So they're the problems that we were facing. What happened to address this? Well, there is something that people don't talk about much, but it's really important for this community. There's something called the Verification and Traceability Initiative. And this is not just a UNICEF initiative. It includes Gavi, UNICEF, the European Commission, the Gates Foundation, the Global Fund, and up until recently, USAID, until they were disbanded. And they have come together to try and promote and educate and put out guidelines for the community on how to adopt and use traceability. And the first initiative and the first asset that group generated was the trust system, which I'll talk about in a moment. The trust system is operated by UNICEF on behalf of the Verification Traceability Initiative. Okay, so we've talked about trust a little bit already. Let's talk about what that solution is. So trust is not one thing. There's several elements to trust, and I'm going to talk about a few of them today. The first is Trust Verify, and Trust Verify is very, very similar to the European system. This is the ability for a manufacturer to make and serialize the packs using the 2D data matrix with the 4 elements that we always see, the GTIN batch, serial number and expiry date, then upload that commissioning event into the trust system. We then have a trust application that is deployed out to countries, or countries can deploy their own app, or countries can also link their national systems to trust, and that allows them to scan and verify the authenticity of that data against the data that's been uploaded by the manufacturers. So this is a verification model, which is optional. It's not mandated, it's optional to deploy in these countries. One thing that we're looking to build this year is something called TraceHub. One of the challenges that we see for low middle income countries is each country has to link to all of the manufacturers, and that takes time. And as a result of that, what we were hoping to be able to do here is to provide trust as a hub in a similar way to Europe. So a manufacturer can build one interface, and then trust will build interfaces to national systems. And we've already heard from the likes of Algeria and Egypt, Ethiopia, and obviously you've got Nigeria and other countries that are putting in their national systems. And what we would like to do is work with those countries to build an interface from trust down into those national systems. So the manufacturers that have already built an interface to use Trust Verify, we can then push their data down to these national systems. The advantage of that, of course, is that each manufacturer only needs a single interface to trust, and then each national system would only need a single interface up into trust. What we will do at that point, we will use another capability we have, as well as Trust Verify. We have a full EPCIS traceability engine. The data would go into Trust Track and then be pushed down to these national systems. I want to make it clear that Trust is not a track and trace system for a country. We operate above country, and we do recognize that there are other providers that can offer these types of services, and we just believe in a free market competitive environment. So those that are already using Trust can push their data to national systems. Those that are using other services can do so likewise. Finally, all of this can be viewed on a dashboard, and I'll show you that in a moment. And our final capability is something called Trust Digital. We've included this because it uses the same 2D data matrix that is on the pack, and this allows a user to scan the same barcode that's used for traceability and pull back digital content, including electronic leaflets. So we like to say that Trust has 4 engines. It has our verification engine, our traceability engine, and our digital engine, and also the ability to act as a hub to push data into national systems. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about that, there are a series of brochures, so please scan that QR code. It will take you to a document that has these brochures. The brochures are a few months old now, so some of the facts are getting a little bit out of date, but I'm about to update you with some of that. But by all means, scan that QR code. It will take you to the brochure, and I will be providing these slides to the organisers so they can make them available to you. So that's a little bit about what the problem was that we're trying to address, and we've talked about what trust is. Let's talk about now the status of where we are. Starting with Trust Verify, this is the first capability that we got off the ground. This screenshot here is actually a picture that was taken a few weeks ago, and this shows where we've deployed and the verification that is currently taking place. I think the stuff in Europe is just people demonstrating and looking at the system, and there's some stuff out in China and India, but fundamentally we are live in Africa. We also have Nepal and Tajikistan that have gone live. So we are verifying via the Trust app or on national systems. So in Nigeria, they've linked to their national system to Trust. So when they are tracking and tracing, they can verify back up into Trust. We're live in 15 countries, and we aim to be live in 25 by the end of this year. We've got over 50 million serialized packs in the system, which represents 210 products being verified, and that's growing all the time. We focused on vaccines to start with because UNICEF are the world's largest procurer of vaccines. They spend roughly $2 billion a year, and we've enabled actually over 80% of the procured vaccines to be enabled to be uploaded into the system. And we hope that in the next quarter we will start to implement with medicines. Now, the one thing I will say is the Trust system is not limited to the products that UNICEF buy. Any manufacturer can contact us, and if they want to use this system, it's free of charge. They can build the interface and start to upload their products and then benefit from the visualization that you see on the screen. Unlike Europe, manufacturers get the opportunity to see where their products are being scanned, and obviously if the verification fails, then they will receive alerts and they can follow up. So this makes Trust Verify a very powerful market surveillance tool. And that picture on the right-hand side is the Trust app scanning the 2D data matrix. And we were very proud to have recently won the Best Innovation in Pharmaceutical Supply Chain at the 6th Pan-African Supply Chain Awards. So moving on, that's Trust Verify. Just recently, last month, we're just back from a workshop in Senegal that took place in May. So there's the list of the 15 countries that we're currently live in, so including Ethiopia, that we spoke about a little bit earlier. And that's a photo of the 19 countries that came to join us in Senegal. And there's a list of the countries that we're now working with to get them live. So we're very confident that by the end of 2026, we should be live in at least 25 countries. And that's not all the countries we're working with. There are a number of others that have approached us and we're starting to develop plans with. Okay, so moving on then, not track and trace, but certainly still in the digital space and using exactly the same 2D data matrix that's on the pack, we have a capability called Trust Digital. By scanning, this is live, it's validated, and it's built on the GS1 Digital Link standards. It works natively on phones through Google Lens. So if you have an Android or an Apple device, you can pick that up, and by using the Google Lens, you can scan and natively get through to the Trust solution. This is really important because we believe the future of digital content and the future of digital leaflets is not through the use of apps. That just becomes a barrier to adoption. And working with Google, we believe that in future they will actually put this natively into their Android phones. And once that happens, we believe that Apple will follow. So in future, you'll be able to pick up any phone, scan the 2D data matrix that is on about 20 billion healthcare items today, and then be able to access digital content. We are live and trialing with 6 major pharmaceutical companies, and that is a full self-service capability. So they have an account on Trust Digital where they can go and create the link between the GTIN and where that leaflet is. So looking ahead, what are we doing in 26 and start of 27? Well, as I've already said, Trust will be deployed in 25 countries, up from the current 15. And we are starting to bring medicine products in addition to vaccines, and we are open for business. Any medical supplier out there that wants to use our system please contact us, and we're happy to enroll you into the system and start to allow you to use the system. We're going to deploy TrustHub into Nigeria, which means that any manufacturer that's got an interface into Trust can then push their data down into the Nigerian system. And once we've done that with Nigeria, we hope to work with other countries to do the same. So once again, we're open up to business. So countries like Algeria, Egypt, Ethiopia, if they'd like to work with us, we will build that interface so that manufacturers can start to push the traceability data into those national systems. We're going to be trialing Trust Verify for access programs. So we're working with some global manufacturers at the moment, and they have access programs where they make their products available at a reduced cost. But obviously, as soon as you do that, you make your products a target of theft, illegal diversion, etc. So we are going to be using Trust to allow products to be scanned in these countries, and then the manufacturer to be able to monitor for illegal diversion and theft. So any manufacturer that is interested in using Trust against that use case, we are running trials and pilots now. And once again, we encourage manufacturers to come and talk to us about that. We are doing a major release to Trust, to release 4 this year, and that's going to have a lot of new features that have been requested by users. There's some great features coming along, and I'm very happy to talk to people about those or come back to this community and share some thoughts and updates on that. And then finally, Trust Digital, we're going to grow from the 6 major pharmaceuticals that we're working with at the moment up to about 50 manufacturers and run that system at scale, just to learn and see what enhancements we need to make to that. So that's very exciting. Okay, I think that that was my 20 minutes. I don't know if we've got time for any questions, but if we don't, you've got my contact details there, and I'm very happy to answer stuff offline as and when you wish. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Grant. Yeah, really, I am very close following what happened in Trust and the contribution in many countries. Of course, I'm following you on the activity that happened in ground, and this is this is something really inspired. I think we have a question from Sama. Let me try to unmute you. Okay, Sama, if you have a question, please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hi, Sama.
Yes, hello everyone. Thanks a lot for this useful webinar. I'm very happy to be here, and it's a great effort, really. I just have a question about UNICEF Trust System. What would motivate the countries to report or share traceability data with UNICEF Trust System, especially if they have their own national track and trace systems? It's very interesting to know. I think there will be a lot of concerns about the data, and if the country already have its own national system, I think it's difficult. So can you share how this is actually being discussed with the countries?
Yeah, great question. So I think the first thing to say is that we're not looking in an initial step to receive data back from countries. That's not what we're talking about. So Trust Hub is about pushing the manufacturer's data down to the national systems. Okay, so why have a hub? For exactly the same reason as we have a hub in Europe. If you don't have a hub, I think in Europe we heard that there were 30 markets, which was about 27 systems, right? And you've got about 3,000 manufacturers. So if you take 3,000 manufacturers and integrate them into 27 systems, that's about 65,000 one-to-one connections. And Europe would have never got off the ground if it had to build 65,000 one-to-one connections. By putting that hub in the center, then each manufacturer only had to interface once. So that's 3,000 connections. And then every country only needed to interface once, which was 27 connections. So you take 65,000 one-to-one connections and you compress that down to about 3,000. That made it possible to build, make secure, cost, everything else. So what Hub is about is offering the same type of capability to low middle income countries, so that not every country and every manufacturer has to build multiple interfaces. So this is definitely not about sucking data, traceability data out of countries. That's not what it's about. It's about pushing the traceability data down to those national systems, so that these countries have more chance of getting up and running faster and easier. So now, with regards to the verification data, we do collect obviously where the packs are being scanned and verified, but we have something called an enterprise agreement, which is a legal agreement between all users of the system, which says that we're allowed to use their data in order to prevent falsification, and so everybody signs up to that, and we've not had any problems. But basically, Summer, we're not talking about sucking data back up. We're talking about pushing data down. Now, the only exception to that might be for UNICEF products, where, given that those products are going into market, we might want to make sure that they've been received and those products are being utilized, because obviously UNICEF are spending billions on vaccines, and they want to make sure that the good is getting to that endpoint. And that type of data ultimately will be done in combination with the government to make sure there's not product shortages and vaccination programs are successful. But that's something that's probably 2 or 3 years down the line. This isn't something we're doing right now. So that's quite a long answer, but I hope it's given you a rounded view of what we're trying to achieve. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam, for your question. Thank you very much. Mr. Grant, it was really amazing session. I think trust we need. I think every topic we need a specific webinar for each topic today, especially trust. Trust need maybe a more longer than this 15 or 20 minutes, of course. But thank you very much for your attendance, and thank you for your speech. It was very informative. It is very important to let all the audience knows the efforts of UNICEF and Trust to fight the counterfeit especially in Africa and other countries. So thank you very much for your attendance today, and it was very informative.
You're very welcome, and happy to be part of this community. And please invite me back and let me know what I can do to strengthen this group and support this community. So thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, Justin, it's keep amazing by time, session by session, a lot of information. I have got a lot of information here, so we have a lot of knowledge shared by our expertise today. So now let's invite Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott will give us an